Okay, so no joke, I was driving home Thursday night listening to Eminem's Venom song, and when it gets to the part where he says, "Knock knock, let the devil in," that totally reminded me that Daredevil Season 3 was coming out that night. No joke. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. Today we got ourselves a Season 3 review of Daredevil. Even though I've not done reviews of Daredevil Season 1 or 2, but hey, Daredevil Season 3 is new and people are talking about it. So I'm gonna talk about it. So anyway, after the events of the Defenders, Matt Murdock, once again played by Charlie Cox, has lost complete faith in the legal system and what the Daredevil suit stood for. He lets his friends think he's very much dead and takes on the Devil of Hell's Kitchen full time as Wilson Fisk, played by Vincent D'onofrio, comes back into the scene. So as you can see here, I'm trying to, emulate the look and the feel of the show and all, and I'm even wearing a suit like Matt Murdock might wear. I contemplated going all the way with it and actually losing my eyesight, but yeah, I ran out of bleach. So I'm a pretty big fan of the Marvel Netflix shows. Daredevil and Jessica Jones are by far my two favorites, which is a good thing because they're the only ones that haven't been cancelled yet. And I think I could safely say that Season 3 of Daredevil is the strongest of the 3 seasons and might be the strongest season of any Marvel Netflix show we have on right now. In the first couple of episodes, we get to see Matt Murdock have to get back on his feet, get back into the swing of things. His senses are a bit screwed up after, having a building fall on him at the end of The Defenders. Sorry, spoilers. And we get to see this character truly struggle. He has to, try to get his senses back out of whack, and he tries to go back out as Daredevil with a new basic black suit, and he pretty much fails a couple of times. I like this kind of stuff because it shows that Daredevil is not invincible like a lot of these other Marvel characters that we have. He's very much human, with superpowers, but still, he's not perfect, he's not invincible. He will get his ass handed to him once in a while, and that I really enjoyed. That's what I liked a lot about the first couple of episodes of the season. Vincent D'onofrio was great once again as a Kingpin, aka Wilson Fisk, and you can tell that he just really loves playing this character. He's a villain that has a lot of depth to him. He can be really intimidating when he needs to be, but he's also somebody I ended up feeling weirdly sorry for sometimes, especially in Season 1, and his motivations aren't even inherently evil. In Season 3, his entire motivation is just to make sure the love of his life is safe, with the hopes of reuniting with her once again. I just love what they did with the Kingpin in this season. Plus, he gets his classic black and white suit. That's pretty cool. Even though for some reason, Daredevil has these visions of Kingpin wearing the suit before he's even seen him in the suit. I don't really know how that works, but whatever. So Karen Page, played by Deborah Ann Woll, has gotten progressively more badass throughout the entire show, and in this season she takes crap from absolutely nobody. She carries a gun, she's not even afraid to go up against Wilson Fisk himself. She gets her own prequel episode towards the end of the season to show what happened and how her brother died in a horrible car accident. And when that episode first played, I was inherently annoyed by that because everything was just starting to get really intense in the main story. So I was like, oh, come on, you're gonna devote an entire episode to this? But I ended up actually really liking the episode, and I sympathized with the character more than I already did, so it was a great episode. I really liked it. So Matt doesn't wear his famous red suit in this show, he goes back to a very basic Season 1 style outfit, which I definitely missed the red suit, but I also really enjoyed this very basic, non-professionally manufactured looking suit. I actually thought it looked really cool. But somebody else actually ends up wearing the red suit, and that would be Agent Poindexter, aka Bullseye, although he's not technically Bullseye yet. Shh. Agent Poindexter is a corrupt FBI agent that Kingpin hires to wear a replica Daredevil suit and basically defile Daredevil's reputation and his somewhat good name. He's a very damaged villain and has a lot of mental problems, which I always really like when villains have a lot of depth to them. That's one of the highlights of these Marvel shows, that they do a really good job with their villains. Poindexter is basically in a constant state of mental and emotional turmoil that started when he was very young, just killing and harming small animals and constantly calling the suicide hotline, which gave me a little bit of sympathy for him, but I was more than happy every time Matt kicked the living shitballs out of him. And also every time he showed up in the Daredevil suit, it just got me really, really annoyed. Which I realized was the point, because the whole idea is that he's trying to ruin Daredevil's good name with the people, so I'm supposed to feel that way, so what I'm trying to say is, nice work. My favorite action scene is a very hard tie between Matt versus Poindexter in the church and Matt versus Poindexter versus Kingpin in the final episode. Both are really well choreographed, they're well shot, and they're nice and bloody and violent. I love it. And without delving too far into spoiler territory, the final episode does end with Matt, Foggy, and Karen back together. Things are starting to look up again for everybody. So I really hope that means that Matt Murdock has gotten over his, distaste and his hatred for the law system and what Daredevil originally stood for, so now he's getting his life back together. I mostly want to see that because, number one, it was a great arc for him in this show, and number two, I hope that means he's going to have the red suit in Season 4, or at least some kind of cool new suit. As much as I like the homemade black suit, the red suit is just too iconic. We gotta get that back. And not from a villain. From Matt, goddammit. From Matt! So there are absolutely no crossovers between any other Marvel Netflix show, so there's no Iron Fist or Luke Cage or Jessica Jones into the Punisher. None of those guys show up here, which I think after a little bit of a rocky start with the Defenders and trying to do too much with too many new characters in Season 2 with Daredevil, they realized that they shouldn't try to do too much in one season, so they decided to make it a very self-contained, standalone story, which I really appreciate, and I think it led to a very strong third season of Daredevil. So, those are my thoughts on Daredevil Season 3. If you guys have seen the season, or if you're just really crossing your fingers and no other Marvel show gets cancelled right now, let me know down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.